Hi everyone, it's Heather. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am going over my November TBR and I am so excited because it's the first time that I am participating in Believathon, which is hosted by How to Train Your Gavin. I will put a link to his channel in the description box. I am so excited. If you've been watching my channel, you know that I have been obsessing over middle grade over the past couple of weeks, and I'm gonna read all of the middle grade in November. I also love the theme of this Believathon. It's a detective mystery vibe and I absolutely adore it. I'm so excited. And then I'm also participating in the 1000 Doors Readathon. This is hosted in part by one of my favorite booktubers, Emma at Drinking by My Shelf, and then two other booktubers, Meg with Books and TeaBooksandTazmyn, and I will put links to their channels as well. So the way that the 1000 Doors Readathon works is that you won't know what you're reading until they release their videos for it. It's like a read as you go kind of thing, so you can't really set a TBR for it. So I'm only going to be talking about my TBR for Believathon right now, but I will be participating in 1000 Doors and I'm so excited. Like, that sounds like so much fun. There's 13 prompts for Believathon and my goal is to read one book for every prompt, but I do have some books that will work for multiple prompts, so if I get strapped for time or something like that, I can double up on prompts, but I'm just going to talk about each prompt individually for now. The first prompt is to read a mystery book, and for that I am going to be reading Small Spaces by Catherine Arden. I know this is the first in a series and that this follows Ollie. She goes on a school trip and I think they get stuck there, and in order to escape she has to solve a mystery with her friends, and it has something to do with a smiling man, which sounds terrifying. And like, look how scary this cover is for a middle grade. Like, there's like men in the cornfield. Like, that's terrifying. The second prompt is to read a book with an author from a different culture than your own, and I'm going to be reading Arusha and the End of Time by Roshani Chakshi, and this is about a young girl named Arusha who goes to a fancy boarding school and she wants to fit in, so she kind of lies about her family life and her travels to seem cooler than she is, or what she thinks is cooler. Her mom is a curator at the Museum of Ancient Indian Art and Culture, and so Arusha tells a lie about a lamp of Bharata, that it's cursed. Her schoolmates don't believe her. They try to catch her in this lie and she tries to prove that she's not lying. She ends up unleashing ancient demons. Her classmates and mom are frozen in time and she has to save them. I'm hoping that there's a lot of Indian culture in this story and it sounds really fun. The next prompt is to read an audiobook, and I am probably going to listen to Coraline by Neil Gaiman. I think I have it on Scribd, and I recently read the graphic novel adaptation and I didn't love it, so I've been wanting to read the original because I have never read the original, and I'm hoping that I like that better than the graphic novel. The next prompt is to read a book with a supernatural element, and I'm going to be reading A Pinch of Magic by Michelle Harrison. This follows three witchy sisters who are cursed, I believe, to stay on an island, and they want to find a way to break the curse and make it off the island. And I am so excited to read this. I've heard that each of the sisters has their own personality and it's really fun and whimsical. The next prompt is to read a book set in an alternate world, and I'm going to be reading Pages & Co. The Book Wanderers by Anna James. I'm so excited to read this one. This is like, if I could live in a world, it would be this. So this is the story of Tilly Pages. She is 11 and her mom has disappeared. She works in her grandparents' bookshop, and all of a sudden these characters within the book start coming to life, like Alice in Wonderland and Anne of Green Gables. She realizes that she can actually like step into books, and this leads her on an adventure. She is also trying to solve the mystery of what happened to her mom as well. I am so excited to read this. I love the cover. It's so cute. And it just seems like it's going to be a really fun and sweet story. The next prompt is to read a book that features ghosts, and I am going to be reading Dead Voices by Catherine Arden. This is the second after Small Spaces, which is the first book I talked about, the mystery. So this follows the same trio of friends as in Small Spaces. They are at a winter resort skiing for a holiday break, and I think it snowed in, and they start to hear spooky things. A ghost hunter shows up who may not be what he says he is. The next prompt is to read a book that is in a dangerous setting, and I am choosing The Lightning Thief by Rick Riordan. This is the first book in the Percy Jackson series, and I mean, everyone knows what these books are about. They're retellings of Greek mythology. I believe it's set on Mount Olympus. But the whole premise is that Percy Jackson has to find Zeus's missing lightning bolt, so I'm assuming that it's full of danger. I can't believe I haven't read this yet, so I need to read this during a middle grade readathon. The next prompt is to read a book by an author that is new to you, and so many of these books would fit for this prompt, but I'm going to be choosing The Westing Game by Ellen Raskin. This is a story about an inheritance, and a man who has died, Samuel Westing, has left his fortune to a stranger who might also be a murderer, and apparently there's like a game having to do with getting the inheritance or something like that. I love stories like this. I love inheritance stories as well as game stories, so I think this one will be perfect. The next prompt is to read a book with a notorious villain. For this, I'm going to be reading the fourth book in a series of unfortunate events, The Miserable Mill, who is a more notorious middle grade villain than Count Olaf, like no one. And I am dying to read the remainder of the series. I've read the first three multiple times, but I want to finish the series and figure out like what is going on. I've heard that the series gets like darker and kind of more adult as it goes on, so I'm excited to get back into the series. The next prompt is to read a book with a beautiful cover, and so many of these would work for this, but I am going to choose The Mystery of Black Hollow Lane by Julia Nobel. This is the story of Emmy, whose father went missing years ago, and she is shipped off to a boarding school called Wellsworth. But before she leaves, she finds a box of mysterious medallions that were her father's, and when she gets to the boarding school, she sees the symbols that were all over the medallions throughout the school. So it leads her and her new friends to the Order of Black Hollow Lane, which is a secret society that may or may not have something to do with her missing father. It sounds so good, and I freaking, like, this is the cutest, spookiest, most adorable cover I've ever seen. I love it. The next prompt, is to read a book with a colorful cast of friends, and I am going to read Doodleville by Chad Sell. I picked this up for my niece for Christmas, but I'm going to read it first before I give it to her to make sure it's, you know, she's a little bit younger than middle grade, so I want to make sure it's something that she can read. But this is about a girl, I believe, named Drew. She is always drawing. She has drawn an entire town for her doodles to live in, but she drew a monster who may destroy everything that she's ever created. And so I've counted her doodles as a colorful cast of friends because, I mean, that is what they are to her, as well as, I mean, it looks like she has friends, so. The second to last prompt is to read a book that features folktales or is like retelling of folktales. I'm going to be reading The House with Chicken Legs by Sophie Anderson. This is, I think, based off of Russian folklore. It's about Marinka, who all she wants in life is a friend, but her life is dictated by the fact that her grandmother is a yaga, which is a guardian who guides the dead into the afterlife. And so they live in this house with chicken legs, and she has to go where the house takes her to help guide people into the afterlife with her grandma. She's offered the opportunity to make a friend, and she takes it because she wants a friend. But this messes everything up, and her grandma goes missing, and so Marinka has to find her, potentially journeying into the afterlife. I've heard such good things about Sophie Anderson's writing, and this will be my first Sophie Anderson book, so I'm excited. So the 13th and final prompt is to read a book that is published in 2020, and I am so excited. I don't have my copy yet because it's not coming out till October 27th, I believe, but I'm going to be reading Hollowpox by Jessica Townsend. This is the third book in the Nevermore series, where we are following Morrigan Crow throughout her journey in the Wondrous Society and in Nevermore. I have no idea what it's going to be about. Actually, I guess I could look. Oh my god, I just read the description, the little blurb, and apparently an illness takes hold of Nevermore and it turns animals into mindless, vicious animals on the hunt. Oh no! As victims of the Hollowpox multiply, panic spreads. She has to find a cure. Oh my gosh, how dramatic! Wow. I had not looked that up before. I love Morgan. I love Nevermore. I am so excited to read Hollowpox. So excited. So these are all of the books, plus a few that I am going to be reading for November, specifically for Believathon. I was thinking about adding more books to my TBR, but I mean, there's going to be 13 books, so I think I'm good. Plus, I'm 1,000 doors readathon. I have no idea how many books that will entail, so I'm gonna stick to this for now. This seems like plenty. As always, please let me know if you have read any of these books, any more recommendations. If there's anything you think I would love, send them all my way. Send all the comments my way. I appreciate you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!